Attention passionate Buffalo, BILLSFANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Buffalo Bills' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Buffalo Bills fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Buffalo BILLSFANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, you know how crazy the NFL offseason can get, right? But this time the buzz is even louder than usual, especially for us Bills fans. The latest rumors swirling around the league suggest that the Buffalo Bills are making a bold move that could redefine their secondary and give them a real shot at elevating that championship-caliber defense we all crave. And I'm talking about none other than Budda Baker, the all-pro safety from the Arizona Cardinals, potentially heading to Buffalo. Yeah, you heard that right. It's not just a rumor. Sources indicate that the Bills are trading a second-round pick in 2026 to land Baker, who's been a staple of the Cardinals' defense for years. This move is being described by insiders like Adam Schefter and Rossini as a game-changer, especially given the current state of the Bills' secondary. Now, why would the Bills go all in on Baker? Well, if you've been paying attention to the team, you know that there's been some concern on that back end. Rapp and Hamlin have been battling injuries. Hamlin's dealing with a concussion, and Rapp's shoulder issues have limited their availability. That's left the Bills' secondary somewhat vulnerable, especially against elite quarterbacks. You see, Baker, who's just 29, is not your ordinary safety. He's a versatile predator, a ball-hawking force on the field, often compared to a light version of Ed Reed. What makes him so valuable is his leadership, his instincts, and his ability to change the course of a game with just one play. In 2025, Baker has already shown his worth with 8 games played, accumulating 62 tackles, 40 of those solo, along with 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and an impressive PFF grade of 88.9. His coverage stats are equally stellar, allowing only 30 targets with 18 completions, which translates to a 60% completion rate. That's a solid number for a safety, especially considering the pressure he applies in coverage, hurries, big plays, and his ability to support the run with an 85 one-run support grade. This season, Baker has proven that he's still got that same disruptive edge that made him an all-pro. His 2 interceptions in Week 4 crushed passing lanes and helped the Cardinals generate 8 more turnovers as a unit. Remember, the Cardinals are currently 3-5, and their defense has struggled at times, giving up around 26 points per game. Their cap space is also a factor. They have around $8 million available, which they're using to rebuild with younger players and draft picks. The team's focus is clearly on the future, and trading Baker makes sense in that context. But for the Bills, adding a player like him isn't just about filling a gap. It's about transforming that back end into a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. When you pair Baker with Poyer, who has a PFF grade of 84, you get a secondary that's not only versatile but also incredibly dynamic. It's the kind of unit that can shut down deep passes, prevent big plays, and enhance the team's overall pass defense, something the Bills have been needing. Now, let's talk about the impact. If this trade goes through, projections suggest that Baker could add around 85 tackles over the remainder of the season, along with at least 4 interceptions. His presence is expected to boost the secondary's PFF grade by around 7 points, which is huge. And with Poyer already in that mix, it's like the Bills are building a secondary that can match up against the best in the league. The chemistry between Baker and Poyer, reminiscent of the Cardinals' Baker-Thompson duo, could really ignite a turnover frenzy, possibly adding 9 more turnovers over the course of the season and lowering the opposing quarterback rating by about 10 points. This is exactly what the Bills need to take their defense to the next level, especially considering how they've struggled against mobile quarterbacks like Mac Jones, who's shown he can exploit gaps in their coverage. And here's an interesting aspect. Baker's stats against deep zones are phenomenal. He's allowed only a 72% completion rate on deep passes, and he's been effective rushing the quarterback with a 20% hurry rate. His ability to cover big plays, preventing big yards after catch, with an average of only 3-4 yards after catch allowed, is a game changer. When you add his tackling, which averages around 5-4 tackles per game, and his knack for making clutch plays, it's easy to see why the Bills are so interested. Team's defense could see a significant upgrade, not just in numbers but in energy and confidence. McDermott's coaching staff could leverage Baker's versatility to elevate sacks, potentially increasing by 9, and improve run support, which has been a concern at times this season. All of this results in a clear shift, from giving up 23 points per game to a more stingy 19, making the Bills not just competitive but dominant. Now, let's put this into perspective with the bigger picture. The Bills are currently sitting at a 5-3 record, which is solid, but they're looking to solidify their position as contenders. The AFC East is no longer the same division it was a few seasons ago, especially with the Jets and Dolphins improving rapidly. The addition of a player like Baker could be the X factor that propels Buffalo into a different stratosphere, making them not just playoff participants but serious Super Bowl contenders. In fact, recent betting odds have shifted, raising Buffalo's Super Bowl chances from plus 2,500 to plus 1,400. That's a significant move, reflecting the belief that this defense upgrade could be the catalyst for a postseason run. When you think about it, historically, trades for elite safeties have turned teams into elite units. Think of the impact of players like Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu in their prime. Baker, with his experience and instinct, could be that kind of player for the Bills, helping them elevate their game in critical moments. And what about the AFC East? Well, the division odds are also moving in Buffalo's favor, with the Bills now at minus 150 to win the division. If they manage to land Baker and integrate him quickly, it's not hard to imagine them overtaking the Dolphins or Jets, especially considering their upcoming schedule and the potential to exploit weaknesses in those defenses. The Bills' offense is already potent, but their defense, particularly the secondary, has been inconsistent at times. This move could be the missing piece, allowing them to match up better against high-powered offenses and especially to contain mobile quarterbacks and elite receivers. Looking ahead, the impact of this trade could be long-lasting. The Bills could see their secondary transformed into one of the league's most feared units, with Baker's ball-hawking skills and leadership adding a new dimension to their defense. This isn't just about this season. It's about setting up Buffalo for sustained success, building a defense that can carry them deep into the playoffs and beyond. The history of NFL trades shows that when a team makes a bold move like this, it often pays dividends in the postseason, especially when the defense steps up at the right moments. The Bills are betting on that with this potential acquisition. In conclusion, folks, this move, if it happens, might be one of the most significant in recent Bills history. It's a calculated gamble, but one that could pay off massively. Imagine a secondary anchored by Poyer and Baker, disruptive, aggressive, and capable of forcing turnovers at crucial moments. That's the kind of unit that can tilt the scales in close games, especially in January and February. The Bills are clearly aiming for that Lombardi trophy, and acquiring a player like Baker could be the step they need to finally get over the hump. It's exciting, it's bold, and it's exactly the kind of move that makes NFL fans sit up and pay attention. The AFC East is already competitive, but with this potential addition, the Bills could be on the verge of taking a big leap forward. Stay tuned, because this story is still unfolding, and Buffalo fans, I promise, more updates are coming your way very soon. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Buffalo Bills news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Buffalo Bills fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential move? Do you think Baker is the perfect addition to solidify that secondary and push the Bills even further into playoff contention? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion really matters to us and, of course, to the team itself. Remember, I'll be back soon with even more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Buffalo Bills news. This team is always evolving, always aiming higher, and with moves like this on the table, the future looks incredibly promising for us die-hard fans. Thanks for sticking around, and as always, go Bills.